You're listening to Media Savvy Moms with Melody and Marilyn, a podcast by Parents Aware, your go-to for information on how to talk to kids and teens about pornography and healthy sexuality. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Media Savvy Moms. Today, we are doing a Q&A show, which is a little bit shorter of a format where we answer a quick question from one of our listeners. If you'd like to submit a question to the show, you can email us at admin@parentsaware.info or submit a question through any of our social media platforms, and we will find it and answer it on the show. Today's question is, what is the right age to start talking to my kids about pornography? We get this one a lot, don't we, Marilyn?
Yeah, I think it's a question on every parent's mind that has young kids today. And the shortest answer I can give for this is, what is the age you are first going to hand your child a digital device?
Right,
That's the age to start in my mind.
right.
Now,
I know people want us to put a number on it, but really, you're the parent. You're putting a number on it, right?
now you
If
might
you
hand your child, a 2-year-old, a digital device, and you're not going to have a very in-depth conversation with them. But I want parents to get in the mindset that as soon as that device goes in their child's hands, there is the risk of exposure. That's that's where I'm getting.
Absolutely. That's it. And they're going to be, like you said, an age appropriate conversation depending on the age that you're talking about. But you need to have that conversation. An analogy that I love is, are when do you give your child instruction on how to drive a car? Do you hand them the keys and they've never driven, never taken any? No, you're never going to hand the keys to your car to your child with no instruction and
Well,
no
I'm
rules.
laughing over here because I basically did that with my oldest, and I highly recommend you don't do it that way. Not a good plan, people.
Okay, I'm sorry, Marilyn. I didn't mean to pick
But
on
no,
you.
it shows that it's you need to prepare kids, you need to give them instructions and help them be as safe as they can. So the average age of first exposure to pornography is 8 years old.
Hmm.
So you want to have the conversation before they turn 8. Based on behaviors that friends of mine have seen in the classroom, and these are kindergarten teachers or educational assistants, they say that they can see evidence of children having viewed pornography at that age, kindergarten age. Now,
Oh,
that's not every child, and I don't want to scare parents, but start having that conversation, those safety conversations about body. And we don't want our children caught in a compromising situation. So the more we can protect them with these conversations, earlier the better.
absolutely. And the thing is, too, I think that parents, when they ask us this question, what age, inside they're going, if I do it, what am I gonna say,
Yeah.
right? With
Yeah.
with these age appropriate conversations, you guys remember, we can keep it simple. We don't have to eat the whole hamburger at the same time, right? We're not gonna sit down with our 2-year-old and talk about hardcore pornography and rape and violence, right?
No, please no. Please no.
No, we'll sit down and we'll say people with no clothes on. We'll say people
I said
hurting each other.
2-year-old, I meant like that's your
It
2-year-old
seems
is barely verbal. So you're not having a great conversation with a 2-year-old, but you have to understand that when that device goes in their hand, you got to think about how to talk to them.
right. And I think we keep going back to two because the World Media Organizations and the American Pediatric Association, they recommend no screens before 0 to 18 months, right? And then 2 and up. So we're hoping that we're putting these guidelines out there. If that helps you with a number, there's a number for screens. And yeah, at that two age, right? You wouldn't hand them the keys to your car, right? And we talk about in the rattlesnakes episode, you wouldn't hand them a device that had a venomous snake in it without warning them, right? That the snake can come out and bite them. That we just warn them with age appropriate language, bad pictures. I love good pictures, bad pictures for that because it gives us easy language instead of saying pornography or sex trafficking or all of these big words, which when we get to our older kids, when we get to our teenagers, yes, we want to talk about these things and we want to use these words.
Yeah.
But
So when we're talking to younger kids about tricky topics, even older kids, I ask them to tell you what they know. And you don't have to use the word pornography when kids are really little. Ask them different things about what they know about body safety or just their body in general.
mhm.
What do we do to keep our private parts safe, and use actual body terms to describe those body parts.
Or if you're worried about media or something they've seen online, ask them, have you seen a picture that made you feel yucky? You
Mhm.
know, they can have those kinds of conversations. It's not complicated. So we've given you a little hint, but what's our resource recommended for the day?
Well, I don't think it can be matched. Get a book, a picture book, Good Pictures, Bad Pictures Junior, and start that conversation early with your children. And that book is recommended for children ages 3 to 5. And it's a beautiful picture book that talks about body safety, good pictures versus bad pictures. And it doesn't use the word pornography in the book except this little post-it note on an illustration. I wish we could show it to you here on the podcast, but if you're at all intimidated to start the conversation, get a book and use the book to help you.
Right. Good Pictures, Bad Pictures Junior is a great one. We'll be doing book reviews and maybe we'll put a little link up to it where we can show you on video. So, our quote of the day is: the words our children use to describe pornography are more important than any definition that you or I or anyone else comes up with. So, getting our kids to tell us, what do they think? And actually, that leads right into our challenge. Marilyn, could you tell the parents our challenge of the day?
Well, I think a great place to start with this is just ask your child to tell you what they think pornography is. And you can do this before or after you read the picture book that we suggest. The quote that we read, or Melody read, is actually something that I have said in the past. So, but the point behind that is we can tell our children as much as we want, like, don't do this, don't do that. But it really comes down to what they feel inside. And so that's why I say the words our children use to describe pornography, whether they're young or whether they're in high school, that's really the most important gauge of how they feel about it and what they're going to do to protect themselves. So get them talking about it. So your challenge is to ask your child what they think pornography is. You can adapt that question to be more age appropriate if you like.
Hey, get out there, talk to your kids.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Media Savvy Moms podcast. For detailed show notes and links to any of the resources mentioned today, visit parentsaware.info. To connect with us on social media, find us on Instagram at Media Savvy Moms and on Facebook and Twitter at Parents Aware. We would love to get your feedback. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review wherever you listen to this podcast. Until next week, let's keep talking.